Are you ready for some good old-fashioned fun? Then get your tickets ready for the bonus features with Alex and Robert Show. Hello and welcome to episode 48 of Bonus Features with Alex and Robert. I'm Alex.
And I'm Robert.
And today we're going to talk about movies and stuff. But first, our pointless interlude of sports. Starting with the upset heard round the world at the 115 weight division. Rose Namajunas lost.
So you predicted it happened in the second round. Didn't you say that?
No, I didn't predict shit. I said decision and that Andrade would get robbed. I was trying to be real specific.
Okay.
Just to see if I'm clairvoyant. Turns out I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not psychic. What happened was, I think it was second round. Mm-hmm. So Rose was beating her on her feet, sticking and jabbing all that shit. Mm-hmm. So she was winning on points. And it looked like that was going to be the story of the night. Except Andrade looked like she was fixing to take her down. Mm. And she slammed her. And she slammed her on her head, kind of, sort of. Mm-hmm. But I don't get the rule. It's like, is this a no contest or not? Because the whole thing is she was grabbing a Kimura. And I guess the rule is you're not allowed to spike on the head on purpose. But if you don't let go of the arm and you're trying to attempt a submission, I guess they can slam you on your head or something weird like that, where it's like it's one of those kind of oddly defined technicality rules where I thought, but you still can't slam them on the. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Hopefully they run it back, and thankfully Rose was not seriously hurt.
Yeah.
Which is like the crazy part, because I thought that looked bad.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
it wasn't very long.
The replay looked like it was like partly on her shoulder and neck, so it wasn't as bad as it initially looked.
It went 2 rounds, right?
I think it was just 2.
Yeah.
It was not long.
Yeah. That was weird, and it did not end in a decision.
Yeah. So as we said, I am not psychic. I have no clairvoyant abilities.
Right.
And let's see, Cubs
are currently beating the Washington Nationals 14-4.
Okay,
Chris Bryant has...
are you saying they might win this one?
They might. It is the bottom of the ninth, but don't hold out hope that the Cubs will win, because who knows?
Don't call it a comeback.
Yeah. Chris Bryant has 3 home runs in this game, so it's pretty decisive.
Okay. All right, so basketball has been mostly boring, except the conference semis had a couple okay series. Let me guess, though. Portland, I don't know how they're going to fare in this Western Conference final. Is Golden State just mopping the floor with them? Yeah.
But the East has been fun. I mean, God.
What is it now? We got the Bucks
and
Raptors. That's cool, though. It's like the Raptors. That's some different teams making it to the Eastern Conference finals.
It's been really fun, and I will say this, as much as I'm a militant Cubs or like militant Chicago fan, there's only one sport in like with Wisconsin sports that I'm like, yeah, okay, I like them. The Bucks. Yeah. I like the Bucks. I like Giannis. They seem like good people. There's a lot of Cubs. Jesus Christ. There's a lot of Bulls up there that are like former Bulls are playing for the Bucks currently. Okay. So I like them. I wouldn't mind seeing them go to the finals. They won't win.
That's how I am with Boston for hockey. I don't like any of the Boston teams, except I don't mind the Bruins. And speaking which, Bruins just stomped all over Carolina. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Good. Because I kind of felt as though if Carolina had, even if they'd won it all, it just felt like an asterisk.
Right.
Because... And I hate being that guy. Well, if we had so-and-so healthy, but losing TJ Oshie is a lot. Mm-hmm. That's a huge turn of events.
It is.
So, because even if, Washington had won that game,
right?
I don't know that they would have won this next or the round after. Mm. So got Bruins. Mm-hmm. They're going to the Stanley Cup.
They sure are.
Just like that. And then the Blues Sharks. It's been an okay series.
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel that confident about either team beating the Bruins. Mm-hmm. My guess is the Bruins are going to win the Stanley Cup.
I'd be okay with that, and I would. Quick preference: I would like to see it happen against the Blues.
Oh, well,
that would be nice.
You might be out of luck because apparently the league is rigged, NBA style. Holy God. The hand pass, if I have ever seen one, at the time of this podcast, I think they might have played yesterday. I can't remember. Point is, last game I saw was Wednesday or whatever. I think it was game 2 or 3. Doesn't matter. Whatever. Point is, hand pass, if I've ever seen one, and it was overtime.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I heard about it.
That was such. Now, I'll extend this small olive branch to Blues fans. You guys got robbed. That was awful call.
Yeah.
So hockey's moving along. It's been, as we've said, a weird postseason. So we'll see how it goes once the things are settled in the West, and we'll see either the Sharks or the Blues. Well, they're going to lose once they face the Bruins.
Yeah.
But in how many games? We'll find out. Stay tuned. See, other fights coming up for UFC? I don't know. There's a lot. Oh my God,
yeah,
I'm a fucking idiot. I can't believe I almost forgot.
Cerrone in Chicago.
Dad Cerrone continues his warpath. He marches into Chicago to fight whom now? Tell the people.
Mr. Oh fuck.
Tony Ferguson.
Well, Jesus Christ.
All right, so I was gonna have you. Whatever. Point is,
I dropped the ball. You know what? That was a Hail Mary, and it was like
it was supposed to be all cool, like he's gonna, and then the other guy talks, but fuck it. Okay.
Tony Ferguson.
He's fighting Tony Ferguson
versus Dad/Cowboy.
Dad Cowboy Cerrone in Chicago. So that's gonna be a great card because we still got that. Valentina's fighting again, and then obviously the bantamweight. No, sorry, is it the flyweight or bantamweight? I'm an idiot. It's the bantamweight title. Moraes and, of course,
isn't the Ben Askren?
Moraes and Cejudo.
Isn't the Ben Askren?
No. That's in July.
Oh, I thought that was in Chicago.
No.
Oh, okay.
That'd be too good.
Oh,
that's on the super stacked card.
That's what I'm thinking about.
With Jones, Santos, and a bunch of others.
That's going to be a crazy one.
That's going to be a good card. And see, I like that it's Santos because at the very least it won't be boring. Because
that one's in Vegas, of course, I think.
Yeah, of course.
Pretty sure.
So that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Other fights around the league, I guess you could call it, even though it's not. Around the organization. We're getting a rematch for DC and Stipe.
Yeah.
I think that's only fair. And that'll be cool. So that'll do it for UFC. Got any pressing matters in croquet? No.
No, I can't find my set. That's all.
Okay, can't find the croquet set. Badminton, nothing? Okay.
No.
All right. So moving along, it's time to go to the news. Starting with the trailer for Batman Hush, the animated movie, of course, is an adaptation of the 2002 comic, also called Batman Hush, drawn by the greatest artist in all of comic books ever, Jim Lee.
Yes, and written by one of the greatest comic book writers, I would say, ever, Jeff Loeb.
Right.
So this is the 14th installment of the DCAMU, the DC Animated Movie Universe, and the 35th overall film in the DC Universe Animated Originals line. Of course, it's about Hush, a mysterious criminal who's bent on trying to destroy Batman's criminal fighting career and personal life. So, what did you think of this trailer?
Well, right off the bat, we finally got our answer indefinitely. Is that it is part of that universe that started with War and had Throne of Atlantis and a few others. I can't really remember.
Doom, I think, was in there, right?
I don't think Doom was one of the... Doom came out before that, I thought. Doesn't matter. I don't know. I don't think that's one... But it's the ones that are basically based off the New 52.
Oh, yeah. No, I see it now. I got it here.
So right off the bat, it is a departure from the...
canon that we understand.
From the comics in a big way. At least because it has to kind of adhere to those rules.
Right.
So, noticeable differences. There's more involvement from Nightwing.
Yeah.
Where the hell is Huntress? Let's see. We got...
Damian Wayne's in this, which is actually something we didn't talk about. He's not in the trailer.
Which is weird. Yeah, he's not in the trailer, but he's
going
to
be in the film, yeah.
Yeah, so that there's a number of differences in terms of who the characters are. But it looks like, at the very least, and this is, I guess, what's really important, the major beats are there.
At least from the trailer, from what we can tell.
So Poison Ivy,
Superman.
getting Superman under control and all that shit. Hush's whole deal with he's really interested in just fucking with Batman.
For some reason.
Which,
it's
kind of hard to, it's like, fuck it. The comic is, since it's old. So, spoilers, obviously, he also knows Batman.
His identity.
Yeah, knows Bruce Wayne.
Knows very intimate details about his life.
Right.
The opera scene we think we're getting?
I think so, because there's a scene where Harley Quinn is it looks like she's on a stage pointing up the gun, and it's very similarly framed to the comic.
You got Batman beating the shit out of the Joker in an alleyway.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
this.
like that's stuff directly taken from the comic, so that's all cool. But there was something you had mentioned, and I kind of agree. The aesthetic of, obviously, Jim Lee's amazing art, it doesn't really come across
namely
at all.
The color. That was one of the things. Well,
I mean, of course, color's different guy, but I understand what you're saying.
But it was a combination of both.
The Jim Lee team. Who the colorist was at the time.
Yes. And that's sort of an issue because, and if you're watching the video that's accompanying this, by the way, colored by one Alex Sinclair.
Right. Alex Sinclair.
If you're watching this, I'll probably have up that panel of Batman facing all of the fucking villains at once.
Yeah.
It's oh man, it's
really
colors
good.
ahoy. And so much is going on.
And you can do it even with a sort of grayish, bluish tone to it.
Right.
But this trailer doesn't.
It's just a lot of browns,
it's very
blacks.
It's too muted.
Right.
I understand muted is part of the general aesthetic of Gotham, darkness, and Batman, and my parents are dead, everything sucks, everything's gloomy. I get that. But at the same time, there's a way to do that and still have it be a little bit vibrant where it needs to be.
I think part of that is because just the way they render nighttime might just look that way. It looks a lot different than in the comics where the skies are a lot bluer, if I remember right. But there are a couple moments in the comics that I know for sure take place during the day.
Yeah.
There's one notable scene in a cemetery that takes place in the fucking daytime in Hush.
Right.
So I'm hoping that they utilize, I don't know. I hope it looks good. I hope it looks a lot better than this trailer looked. And the trailer doesn't look horrible. This isn't like...
Well, that's the other thing is, it's kind of weird. You're not really given all that much.
No.
Especially if I didn't know the comics, I would be super confused. What the hell is going on here?
Yeah, who's this guy?
Yeah. What's Catwoman's deal? What the hell is going on? Mm-hmm. You really can't tell anything about the plot, almost in a way where it's completely baffling, as though they expect you to have read the comic.
Right, right.
Overall, though, what are your thoughts? Furthermore,
mostly just on the
maybe specific moments in the trailer that stood out.
There's a couple things where I kind of was thinking, when did this happen? Like the moment where Batman's it's like oh god, it's like Enter the Dragon where he's like punching mirrors with Hush.
Yeah,
when was this?
I don't remember that shit at all.
And there's just other things like I don't remember this scene where they're shaking down Poison Ivy and getting information from her about Hush.
Yeah, because I remember she was sort of in the mix with the whole Superman thing, but she says, "Oh, it's this guy Hush. He hired me. He made me do it." I don't remember that shit at all.
Your favorite scene's in the trailer.
What's that?
The scene where Batman gets shot down.
Oh God, of course. So. For those of you playing at home, Robert and I have mentioned this before. The one and only thing I don't like about the Hush comics is, so Tommy Elliott, or whatever. Spoilers, I guess. Tommy Elliott is...
I guess if you don't know who the name doesn't really hold much significance unless you read the comics.
Whatever, doesn't matter.
He's a guy.
The bad guy shoots down Batman and then does surgery on him, and he does that so he can, find... What the fuck is it? Just so he can get access to him, like his files or whatever.
Yeah.
Point is, he does it in a way where it's like, oh, I cut down that cord just high enough to make sure you'd get severely hurt but not die. And I jokingly say, what did he do? The egg drop.
Yeah.
So he does that again
in the trailer.
But again, I'm willing to completely forgive that because of how much I like Hush.
Yeah.
And after all, comic books, plot holes are just,
they're abound.
It's abound and sometimes unavoidable.
Right. But overall, I like the trailer. It eased a lot of my worries because we were getting a lot of details about this, like Damian Wayne, what the fuck, or like Nightwing, what's going on here? But the trailer eased a bit of it. Again, I'm looking for a little bit more vibrance, color-wise.
Right.
Hopefully, we can evoke more of Jim Lee and Alex Sinclair's work on that classic. When did that come out? 2003.
I think it was 2 through 3.
2 through 3, that classic run. So I like this a lot.
I was a big fan mostly, but I think a lot of that just comes from the fact that I like the original comic so much.
Right.
I wouldn't say the trailer is underwhelming. It's just it didn't blow my mind either. Mm-hmm. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this.
Agreed.
All right, so that'll do it for Hush. Our next story. So that Mortal Kombat movie is actually finally happening. Maybe. It sounds like.
Soon.
Yes. So the Mortal Kombat movie, which has been in development for a while now, with James Wan producing, is apparently, as people have been saying, it is reported to start filming soon in South Australia. Newcomer Simon McQuoid is on to direct, and it has a projected budget of $70 million. Mm-hmm. That's not a whole lot of money for one of these movies.
No, and part of me gets that. I mean, there are certain, like if we're just adapting Mortal Kombat 1, that's essentially like, you could just do this as a like tournament movie on an island, whatever, fight scenes, like 10 fight scenes. Really good fight scenes.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit of plot, maybe a couple
bit of CGI.
Effects. Yeah, some magic powers, but we don't want to get into the interdimensionality of stuff yet, or Shao Kahn, or Goro, or who knows.
Yeah, that might be a little further down the line. That's kind of what I was thinking, but there's also a part of me, hearing that $70 million, part of me worries a little bit. Because remember, there was a certain 2009 film entitled Street Fighter: Legend of Chun-Li.
That came out in 2009?
Or I thought so.
I was gonna say I thought that came out way earlier than that. Jesus, that movie's a trip.
Is it 2009?
Let me check.
What do we got?
The movie came out in 2000, starring Kristen Crook. 2009.
Okay, yeah. Anyway,
oh boy.
No, but the point I'm trying to make is that seemed like a lower budget, but also a smaller scale, which is fine, I guess. But the problem was they tried to say this is a Street Fighter movie, and it really, one, didn't feel like it. Mm-hmm. Two, they did that, and then at the end, the big teaser was, here's an invitation to the tournament. Mm-hmm. So I hope that they're not doing that approach where it feels more like a pilot of a TV episode.
Or like Dragon Ball Evolution, where everything's just
awful all around.
Yeah, it's kind of a bit of both, where it tries to be grounded, but then all of a sudden it just goes fucking crazy.
I just don't get this. How the hell is this supposed to be start filming? We have no casting, no nothing.
There's some rumors.
There was rumors a while ago about character breakdowns and that shit.
Yeah, like.
But how long ago was that? 2 years ago?
I don't know. I have no idea. But what we do have is information as to who's directing and writing this. One, as we mentioned, Simon McQuoid is directing this, and also a screenwriter named Greg Russo, who is connected to a lot of other projects in development. He's writing this as well.
Oh, Greg Russo. So he's taken on a big blockbuster. Surely he has a long resume.
Not yet.
Oh.
It maybe by the time this movie comes out, because he's developing like the Resident Evil.
That's funny. I haven't heard this one before. Oh, they've written nothing, but they're attached to 10 things.
Right. Simon McQuoid is kind of a similar deal. He hasn't made any films, but he's a commercial director. I think he's directed a couple like live action commercials for like the Assassin's Creed franchise, or I don't know.
Oh, okay.
So like he's got some experience.
Right.
But yeah, we're gonna have to I'm very curious as to the casting of this, because I
almost wish this was a Is It Bullshit segment.
Yeah?
Well, they're going to start filming when? They don't really specify, but they're just...
Before the end of the year, they're saying.
But a lot of reputable sources are saying this is so. That's the only reason we're even bringing this up.
Right.
So I just find it unusual that a lot of sources are saying this is happening, but we don't have jack shit besides the screenwriter, some producers, and a director.
It's very odd.
Yeah.
But as far as the budget goes, I wouldn't be shocked if they did it somewhat in the style of that. Remember that fan series that came out with Michael J. White?
Oh, yeah, Legacy?
Jack's, yeah. Something like that where it's like grounded, but like the fight scenes are still the point.
Right.
I wouldn't be shocked if it were something like that, but maybe a little bit more, a little bit less gritty.
I mean, the one thing I can say about having a smaller budget, is that kind of does make sense. Is you don't want to go to Endgame right away, if you get what I mean.
Right.
Like none of the Marvel movies are small, but it's funny is you compare Civil War to Endgame, and Civil War feels small in comparison.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Highlander Endgame.
Oh, of course. I mean, that is the best movie ever made.
Yes, of course it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, that will do it for this story. Moving on, we've got a trailer for Genndy Tartakovsky's next series, animated series, that will be premiering on Adult Swim this fall. It's called Primal. It's got a very simple premise. It's about a caveman at the dawn of evolution, a dinosaur on the brink of extinction. Bounded by tragedy, this unlikely friendship becomes the only hope of survival in a violent primordial world. What'd you think of the trailer?
So I saw about 10 seconds of it. Was already blown away. And then there's just that brutal part where he's just stabbing the dinosaur or something. I thought, shut up and take my money.
It's like, you guys thought Samurai Jack was a little violent for kids? Don't show your kids this show. This is on Adult Swim, guys.
Yeah, that's the good shit.
This looks fantastic. The animation and the color work, it's so good to see. Like, one of the things I missed about Genndy Tartakovsky just for the past like decade, aside from like the Samurai Jack, what do you call it? Revisiting? What do you call it? Not reboot. The last season.
The extra season. I guess you could call it.
Is his animation almost stands the test of time. But I've really been dying to see like what he could do now with like some of the technology that we have. And this just looks, oh man, the colors just look really vibrant, and I love it. It looks great.
I almost like though how it almost has a sort of DIY-ish look.
Yeah, it's still got that Genndy aesthetic.
No, but it kind of reminds me of what's it called? The Ball Masters 9009.
Yeah.
You know how it looks sort of raw, but in a good stylistic way.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So that's one thing I noticed, but also I just love the whole idea. There's not enough caveman stuff that's good. There's like hundreds of horrible caveman movies from the 80s and just horrible B movies. But this looks really cool, and I like the idea of humans interacting with dinosaurs.
Yeah,
at that time, which obviously
that's pretty crazy.
Didn't happen, but it'd be cool if it did.
We've seen a lot of movies where it's just like, oh, it's a caveman, and he befriends a wolf. There was a movie that came out a little bit ago. Alpha was basically that. There's a lot of movies that are that. I think 10,000 BC. There's a part where he befriends like a lion, or I don't know. But this is a dinosaur.
This is it's a dinosaur. Number one, so that's a new angle. But it's just the brutality and the simple survival of it.
Yeah,
it's like this is before they had anything.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, this looks really, really goddamn good. So check it, or be on the lookout for, what the hell is it called?
Yeah, Primal.
I love it so much. I don't even know.
Caveman show.
The one with the guy, one of those guys with the big clubs and them lizard alligator things that don't exist no more. Yeah. Primal with Genndy Jesus Christ. Primal by Genndy
Tartakovsky.
It's made by the guy who made Samurai Jack, Genndy Tartakovsky. It's going to be awesome. All right, so moving on to more animation news. We got a trailer for Amphibia, which is going to be a new animated series on Disney Channel. Why don't you tell the people what it's about?
Ordinary Anne Bonchui, I think is how you pronounce it, 13, finds a treasure chest that sends her to Amphibia, a world full of frogs, toads, and giant insects. With help from Sprig, she must adjust to life in Amphibia and discover her first true friendship in her life. So one of the
she's going to Amphibia because of Sprig.
Yeah.
Was this written by Steve Brule?
Steve Brule. There's a lot of the trailer's fun. It's a little light on in terms of what the show's gonna really. I mean, it's just gonna be an adventure, like
it just kind of
serial thing.
Well, it clues you into the magic treasure chest, takes her there.
Yeah.
And that she's an outsider, and that's kind of one of the funny things I like is it has that sort of Planet of the Apes thing where.
She's normal looking, quote unquote, to us, but
now she's the weird one.
Yeah.
There's the part where the little toad dude or frog dude, whatever the hell he is, commenting, "Oh, wiggly fingers, gross."
Yeah.
Which that's speaking of gross. That's one thing I found kind of weirdly charming about this. How gross the world that the frogs live in is.
Yeah,
it's sort of like a dirty version of the Smurfs village.
A little bit.
Yeah. So that's I just thought that's an interesting aesthetic, and I think that'll be a fun premise to watch that play out.
I agree, and I was also particularly taken by the fact that Brenda Song is going to be voicing the main character in this, who I go back with as being she's a Disney Channel star, like from back in the day. She was on Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and a bunch of other stuff. She was also on The Social Network. It's good to see her still working.
Okay.
Especially for the company that made her.
Don't know who she is.
She's like one of those where you're like, oh yeah, she's...
I wasn't about the live action Disney when I was a young kid.
Not even like Stevens?
Not even. Like, that was one I thought was okay.
I love that show, man.
I was just more about cartoon characters and the possibility of them whacking the crap out of each other.
See, with cartoons, I was always on Nick. Or Cartoon Network. I'm like, these guys beat the shit
that was the best.
Yeah. Except with movies. Like, movies, it was Disney. At least when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But with cartoons, it was always Cartoon Network or Nick. I was like, I'm already here. Live action stuff, I was on Disney for.
Right.
Wasn't as big of a fan of the Nick stuff.
Yeah. I like the character designs, obviously, for this Amphibia show.
Yeah. A lot of great, like, color work with... I like how the one frog is purple, but he's got a yellow tongue. That's an interesting sort of... Yeah. Usually it's just green with a red tongue.
I also thought the tongue high five was funny.
Yeah, that's always...
There's some good sight gags. I like what I'm seeing out of this trailer.
It's for the kids, Alex.
Yeah.
So...
Billy.
I'm sure they'll like it.
I hope they do. I mean, we've had a lot of different things. We had turtles. We've had sharks that are rip-off of turtles.
Yeah.
Mice on the... biker mice from Mars, whatever the fuck it was called.
Right.
So why not frogs?
I agree.
All right, so that'll do it for that story. On to our last one. This is just not really a big story. It's just a little quick update on a thing we covered last week. Masters of the Universe has changed its release date. It is now due to be coming out on March 5th of 2021. Not really surprised since they haven't started anything yet.
Yeah.
So that's that. That's really all we have. All right. So that'll do it for the news. And now we move on to the review portion of this podcast. And what we decided to do is, since John Wick 3 is out this weekend, that we'd review John Wick 1 and 2 in some classic From the Vault reviews. Starting with our review of John Wick 1, or John Wick.
Yeah, just John Wick.
John Wick the First.
Or I think it's actually retroactively been called John Wick Chapter 1.
Has it now?
Yes.
All right, well, whatever. John Wick.
Mm-hmm.
So, this was a movie that, to me, is very significant in the movie-osphere.
How's that?
Well... in the obvious world of complaints of sequel, prequel, blah, blah, fuck this, too many, comic book adaptations. There's an original idea written by Derek Kolstad.
Yes.
It's a great movie.
Oh, yeah. So, namely, with fantastic action that is beyond the pale of a lot of what action has been now, which is just either shaky cam or not cloaked, or like very poorly shot fight scenes. The action in this is
I think that's a good phrase that you use, is cloaked, because it feels like action is shot, edited, or lit, or whatever the hell, in a certain way to hide the fact that there's something lacking about it, that they're not really putting as much care as they should into making action spectacle scenes all that they should be.
Right. Yeah. It was and that part of that comes from the fact that this is directed by two veteran stunt peoples, Chad Stahelski and David Leitch. Though it's actually interesting, Chad Stahelski is the only one credited here, though they did direct the movie together. This movie, most notably, starts with one of the better premises we've seen in as far as revenge movies go. What happens here? It's famous. I mean, come on. We know what happens.
First of all, that is the cutest beagle puppy ever.
Little Daisy is her name.
Little Daisy. So obviously John Wick's wife is dead. Mm-hmm. And she basically sets it up so that once she's dead, because she knows she's dying from this mysterious terminal illness, that he will get this adorable puppy named Daisy.
It's something to remember her by.
Right. And, for him to move on and like learn to love again. Mm-hmm. And of course, he does learn to love this adorable little dog.
A little bit too much.
Because the Russian guys who wanted to buy his car come to his house, beat him up, and then they kill the dog.
Ooh, that's a big mistake.
That scene makes my blood run cold.
Yeah.
Because, of all the dogs that you had to kill, little Daisy, like, fuck that guy.
You had to kill one that, like, wasn't a threat?
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Because even the dog in Halloween, I still feel sad for it.
Yeah, it's like...
Even though he's sort of an aggressive, he's like a Doberman-ish kind of dog.
Yeah.
Annie's dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's rough. But anyway, it's a horrific scene. It's not as bad as it could be, but it's still pretty bad. But the most important thing about the scene is that it sets up...
Oh, by the way, spoilers for this whole review.
Oh, what's that?
Whatever.
The dog dies?
No, just in general.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah.
Because it's from the vault.
Yeah, I mean, come on, guys. The movie came out in 2014.
Sorry,
guys.
Yeah.
No, but the point is this sets up the entire franchise of John Wick being this guy who was done. This was no longer something he wanted to do. He wanted to live a normal life, and it was taken away from him. It's not something he willingly chose to get back into, though he kind of does in a really badass scene.
It's also just kind of his fault for being an assassin in the first place.
Yeah, it's very much a commentary on the cycle of violence.
That's actually something that I found very interesting rewatching this. Because the first time I watched this, I was just there for the carnage and the vengeance. I just want to see him just beat some ass, maybe shoot some people and do some crazy like roly jujitsu, gun fu shit. Yeah. So some of that stuff. But the one thing I paid attention to was the thematic elements here a little bit more. I mean, you tend to do that when you rewatch movies, even if they're action movies.
Right.
So that was the one thing, is he can't really escape this life, and this movie kind of asks the questions about can you escape your past life? Mm-hmm. And can you find redemption in a new life? And also, how do you deal with the consequences of your actions or with the actions of others?
I agree.
And so you're right. It's very much about that cycle. Mm-hmm. And the thing that sucks so badly is the puppy man. The puppy represents industry.
Industry?
No, I'm fucking with you. It's from Billy Madison.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Because I was thinking about going on this whole thing, like, if I were a douchey film snob critic, I'd be like, well, you see, the puppy represents John's ability to forgive himself.
Well, no, that's...
the puppy dies, and what happens is it represents that a puppy is young and naive, just like John was.
It's true, though.
He could move on.
No, it is. It's like the puppy represents John's hope of having a normal life.
So the puppy is industry.
Yes. But no, it's like the puppy is... Well, because think about, like, what is the American dream? You have a house with white picket fence. You have a wife. You have a dog. You have kids, and it's like this dog is John's. This was literally his wife's final gift to him. Like, look, dude, you're gonna have a normal life. It's gonna be fine. Here's a dog. You two are gonna be fine. And they fucking kill the dog. So it's almost like life is saying, you know what, John Wick, fuck you. You need to kill some people still because there's some bad people out there.
Well, the other thing is John Wick he didn't trust that. I think all along he really didn't trust it, that he would be able to move on to a new life. Because why else would he keep all that shit hidden under concrete?
Oh, it's a great scene.
And the concrete, man, it represents, like, the barrier between him and wanting to move on, brah, but...
It's the concrete in his mind, man.
Yeah, it's like a brick wall.
Yeah.
It is kind of interesting that you'd think, he doesn't trust that he'll move on to a new life, so he stashes some guns here and there. No. He buries it under concrete.
Yeah. This movie's deep, fuckers.
Yeah.
It's a deep movie.
It's deep like the hole has to dig to get the guns out of the concrete, man.
But, no, so I remember when I was watching this for the first time, and actually, I remember when this movie first came out and seeing the trailers and thinking, Keanu's doing, like, Man of Tai Chi and stuff, and I don't know about this. It's just whatever. And then hearing all the buzz about it and people saying, look, you need to see this movie for the action. Because the action is where it's at. And, man, when we get that first shootout.
In the house?
In the house.
Amazing.
It's just, you're like, oh, okay, so this is made by people who not only know how to choreograph action, but know how to film action. They know how to make their hard work be seen. You know, because that's one of the worst things about being a fight choreographer, I can imagine, is like, oh, I choreographed this scene that you're never going to see because shaky cam, because bad angles, because what have you. This
or
is like,
because I couldn't find performers to really adequately do a lot of the movements.
Right. This is like a lot of wide, longish takes.
Right.
Of people getting shot, generally in the head. People getting, knees broken and just beaten up. It's awesome. It's fantastic action. It's some of the best in modern filmmaking.
And that's one thing I was going to say is this is a significant movie for the stunt industry at large.
Oh, yeah.
Because David Leitch and Chad Stahelski, as you said, veterans in the industry, but they really... I feel like every action movie that comes out wants to imitate John Wick at least a little bit. And the guys that they've worked with, too... Like what's his name? Sam Hargrave. Dude, that guy has done all the shit for Marvel too.
Oh yeah.
So you see it everywhere, and Marvel is kind of the golden standard, pretty much. Are they not? So that's what I'm saying. They're really changing the stunt industry.
Oh yeah.
Along with another movie that came out in 2014, Raid 2, Iko Uwais and Company. So I would say those are the two best stunt crews right now that are really current and happening are those two.
I agree. They're
taking the Jackie Chan stunt team torch.
They really are,
which I like.
And that is the noticeable difference in this. Is it's not just your garden variety. Like as much as I love Taken, the shootouts and fight scenes are pretty good, but they don't have much on these. Like they're so specific in this. They're so much better. They're shot so much better. And the other thing that I really loved about this, weirdly enough, doesn't get enough love. Keanu's performance. This might be my favorite role. For him.
He disappears in this role,
and he, a lot of people have a problem with Keanu, like
in general, the sort of stonery,
I know kung fu, like
just
kind of like
I get it. There's
vapid, like I'm just kind of an airhead, but. There's some scenes in this where I'm like, that's not an easy scene to do, Keanu.
Well, that's another difference with this movie is John Wick's a vulnerable hero.
Yeah, the scene in the chair.
The scene in the chair, the part with...
I'm thinking I'm back. Like, he's got that's a hard arc in that fucking scene.
Not even that. It's like when he sees little Daisy and he's crying.
God damn it. It's...
And you want to know what the other difference is? Normally when heroes are vulnerable, it's towards the end. Such as, what the hell is it called? First Blood. The first Rambo movie. He breaks down at the end after he's had his war. John Wick breakdowns you see him at his most vulnerable emotional state at basically the very beginning of the movie.
It's interesting because we're held in a space of dramatic, or not even dramatic irony, of just being withheld from information. Because we see this guy, we're like, seems like a normal guy. And like when we learn through the Michael Nyqvist character, Vigo, we learn like, no, this guy's like the greatest assassin that's ever lived. We're like, really? And then we see him like going to town with the sledgehammer. We're like, okay, so maybe he is.
Yeah.
And it's so weird because we learn, we don't know. We're like, oh, it just seems like a guy that got his dog killed. That sucks. Like, oh, fuck.
That's the other thing is, talk about, I don't know if it's editing or screenwriting, but there's some very cleverly done things. He's telling his son Vigo's telling his son how badly he fucked up while intercutting it with a man hitting a sledgehammer into the ground to get guns.
With the fucking pencil.
Yeah.
That other scene, by the way, was John Wick's car, sir.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
God damn it, that's just perfect.
It sure is.
But the action's solid.
Well, one thing about the action, I think that maybe this is why it sticks out. So similar to Raid, kind of, reinventing some things, adding Salat, which is kind of, not as common as your garden variety Taekwondo or whatever.
Nowhere near as represented in film.
This I think does a good job of using enough real tactical martial arts and gun training, and then mixing it in with the more spectacular stuff in a way that's kind of unusual. It's realistic enough where you're not saying bullshit, but it's flashy enough where it's still a movie and it's still semi-fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. The violence is like it's
or semi-fantastical.
Yeah,
you know what I
it's
mean?
hyper real. Like it feels like this is like it's not Free Fire where you're watching it and you're saying to yourself, "Yep, this is probably how a gunfight would go down."
Yeah, exactly.
It's more than that, and it's more. It's just fun, more fun to watch.
That's what I mean. It's a great meeting of the unrealistic stuff that's fun and the realistic stuff that makes it believable. So it's a perfect mix of cinematic and believable. And there's some other, just a couple other points I want to talk about.
Sure.
So overall, the one thing that I really like about this movie is that the subtext really works. And I think part of that comes from the fact that you kind of figure it out as you go along. As you say, when you really are introduced to this movie, other than the very, very beginning scene, which is the end, you just think this is just some dude who has a kick-ass glass house.
Right.
Wakes up at 6, just kind of groans around. You don't know shit about him.
Right.
Oh, he just happens to be the best assassin. But then there's the whole thing about you stole John Wick's car. And then the story about the pencil, how all the assassins know him. You go to the Continental, God damn it, I almost said JJ Reddick. I'm just so used to pairing JJ with
Lance
Reddick. Yeah.
That's all right.
Lance Reddick, who's also awesome in this.
Oh, yeah.
But the idea is, welcome back, Mr. Wick.
Yeah.
He's just, just a regular. And
Well,
they don't waste time explaining much. They just kind of let that go.
The more you watch the movie, the more you not only realize that John Wick isn't who he seems, but this world isn't what it seems.
Right.
This isn't our world.
That's another thing I really like is it sets up a larger world. And you know what this movie does? That all first movies, if you plan to make more of them, does really well. It leaves enough room for bigger development, for an even bigger world, for a bigger and better sequel. And that's actually the one thing I have a slight issue with this movie is the very ending scene. It's cool. It's on the loading dock with the car.
It's not as much of an exclamation point as it is just a period.
Well, yeah, it just kind of felt like this is just the last scene. It's just kind of on a dreary, boring dock. Whereas you had the Knights Club scene with all the fantastic primary neon colors.
And then you had even the church scene before that, and like some of the gunfighting there is really, really cool. I miss Willem Dafoe, man. I completely forgot he was in this. It's like, that's right, he gets killed in this. God damn it.
That's the other thing.
I miss him.
I like that John Wick is not really invincible.
No.
Like he fights the one kickboxer dude in the club when they're out of bullets, and he throws his ass over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then he has to he finds one of his little sidearms, has to fire a couple shots just to get that guy to,
drop.
No, he gets him to skedaddle. He kills him later. It's just a great movie. There's stakes. This guy's, he's a little rusty. And there's just action that is rarely matched.
Oh, yeah. Especially nowadays.
Yeah. But because the ending was just kind of, it just kind of didn't seem that great to me. Overall, I gave this movie a 4 out of 5 when I first saw it, and I stick with it. But I would say it's a solid 4 out of 5.
Very solid. I completely concur. I gave it an 8 out of 10 then, and I still give it an 8 out of 10. I stand by it. It is a very damn good time and a great starting point for a really, really spectacular franchise.
Right you are. So that'll do it for our reviewing from the Vault review of All Dogs Go to Heaven, but Not All Gangsters.
So now for our review of John Wick Chapter 2. So where we left off, John has gotten his revenge on not only Yosef, but Vigo as well. And he's got himself a new doggy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's got a pit bull.
Yes.
That he stole out of the shelter.
Yeah. So the movie starts off, and we get Peter Stormare, who is the brother, Vigo's brother from the first movie.
Oh, yeah, also full spoilers again.
Yeah. We get another action scene where he's getting his car back.
The dude at the beginning, it's Vigo's brother.
Yeah. And he's trying to get the car back. And he does get it back, and it's a great scene.
I love how he just completely fucks up the car in the process.
Trying to get away.
It's the principle.
Yeah, it's like, it's my car,
It's my car, yeah.
I don't care what shape it's in. I gotta get it back. And
you know what I thought that was cool is that was a great callback in a weird way to the letter from the wife. Because she says, it's time to move on and learn to love. A car doesn't count.
Yeah.
So he's like...
He almost hasn't learned his lesson yet.
Well, but he kind of did in that he's like, fuck it, I'll damage it. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Well, you can't do that with a
It's a
nice
good compromise.
doggy. Yeah. It's like, meet her in the middle.
Yeah. So that all goes on. It's a great action scene. And I remember when I saw this for the first time, and even seeing it again, I was a little bit worried because, and this does become an issue, but believe me, it doesn't affect the movie as much as you think it is.
How dare you? There's no issues with this film. You disgust me. You're not allowed to disagree with me.
I know.
It's a fact. It's a fact that you're wrong.
It's empirical.
Yeah.
It's proven.
Yeah, it's if you don't agree with me, you're wrong. Anyway.
But no,
go on.
So the inciting incident of this is he's approached by a mafia Camorra lord Santino d'Antonio.
Santino, yeah.
And he's just like, "Hey, I need you to kill somebody for me."
Oh, and
it's like, okay. He says no, and they blow up his house, and I'm like, if I'm giving points out, John Wick 1's inciting incident is so much better, but where it leads us in this is a lot
it's like
more
Home
eventful.
Alone. What are they going to do? Kill his dog again?
Oh man,
like this isn't where Kevin, we left him again.
Mm-hmm.
You got to change it up a little.
Yeah. See, if I was going, well, I guess in terms of like shit getting
I didn't mind
bad,
it because shit was exploding.
Yeah, that was pretty dope.
So if you're gonna do a plot hole or rather a story type inconsistency, if you're gonna do it by blowing shit up, well, you fooled me.
Yeah, and believe me, it pays off in that it takes us to a place that is as satisfying as John Wick 1, if not more so. He has to go and assassinate his sister.
Right.
Santino's sister. And we go to, where's that happen? Venice or Rome? Happens in Rome.
Yeah, it happens in Rome, and the whole sequence in Italy is my favorite part of the movie, and all of it's amazing.
Greens and blues and just crazy imagery and it's nuts.
That weird ass concert with the weird half DJ opera music. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah, man, it's wacky, but so he goes there to do that. It doesn't happen. He doesn't kill her.
Well, she kills herself, and then he puts her out of her misery.
Yeah, and lo and behold, Common, who is her bodyguard, obviously thinks that he killed her, but and basically what happens is thus begins a giant international adventure for John Wick, where he's on the run from all these people, and he's got to track down Santino and clear his name / get compensation for what he's done.
Here's one thing, I guess I might be an idiot about this. So he does the thing where Santino wants to kill his sister so he can get a seat at the high table.
Yes.
Again, we're building this world, and just like the first one, they do a really good job with subtext and stuff that's just kind of unexplained but sort of mentioned. They don't over-explain. Again, they do a very good job of bringing new information into the fold, but keeping it kind of close to the vest.
Right.
But anyway, so he wants to kill her to get a seat at the high table. So then he puts out a contract on John Wick to what end?
To kill him.
Well, I mean, the reasoning...
To cover for the fact that he killed his sister.
Right.
So he's like, John Wick killed my sister.
Okay.
So it's like, fuck
I'm
you.
an idiot.
You betrayed me.
That's kind of what I thought. But I also thought, why would John Wick be a suspect? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you have Common there corroborating it, and
all right, fuck it. Okay, so he has to do it.
The trail of like how many people were killed in the fallout from the Rome scene. Like, there's at least 15 people that died.
Oh, you mean
those catacombs?
The catacomb scene is great.
He's got shotgun at the ready.
He runs the gauntlet quite literally.
God damn it! It's so good. And that's the other thing is the action is like, the action in one was good. I want to see how they can ramp it up a bit. Oh, man.
It's like, well, how many different guns and knives and cars and hand strikes and punches and kicks and weird jujitsu holds / It looks like they're using a lot of the sistema and a little bit of sambo type throws.
Yeah.
I saw him legit do some straight up judo throw with the collars and all that, or the sleeve, like grabbing the sleeve throw because they're all wearing suits and stuff.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the martial arts choreography in both of these movies.
We got to give it up for the best set piece. I even struggle to call it a set piece because it's like 10 set pieces tied together.
Yeah.
The scene where the sequence where he's running through New York and he's just narrowly avoiding all these assassins.
Yeah.
Like the Common scene with the silencers and the knife fight.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The silencer thing, because I just enjoy this movie too much.
You're like, sure.
Yeah.
You know what? Fine.
Fuck it.
Because this is just too fun.
And I'll forgive the fact that maybe one of them should have gone for the head.
Yeah.
As Thanos might say. Mm-hmm. But fuck it, I'll let it go.
We get to see him kill with the pencil.
Yeah.
2 dudes with a pencil.
It's great the way they foreshadow shit.
It's crazy. That whole scene where he's just like narrowly avoiding assassins whilst like trying to get from one part of town to the other.
Yeah.
And the ammo count, that was the other thing that killed me, is like the screenwriter's like, oh, he's out of ammo, and he's like gotta like jerry rig like the what do you call it? There's like a part where his gun runs out of bullets, and it's like, oh fuck. So he's got to like grab ammunition from one of the other guns.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love shit like that because in movies, all the time it's like,
just endless ammo in one clip.
Sometimes for the better.
I've got a 16-round gun, and I just like 5 minutes later.
Sometimes
come back
for the
later.
Better. Sometimes it's a good thing. See any like pre-2000 John Woo movie, but like other times it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, it gets a little ridiculous. But that's what I'm saying is this movie. Like the first one, it does such a good job of adding elements of realism
whilst keeping that heightened feel.
Yeah, while keeping the heightened feel.
It's like a comic book, but real life-ish.
Yeah, exactly.
With real life mechanics.
But that's the other thing is this one, as sequels should, does up the ante in terms of the outlandishness and the continuing world building. Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean there's Continentals everywhere?
Yeah,
there's one in Italy?
In Italy.
There's all these different, types of assassins. You got the sumo guy.
Oh my God, that's a great scene.
Got all that stuff. And that's one thing about 2 in general, I felt like more of this movie was hitting its stride because I do like the emotional arc in 1 with John Wick about the whole redemption thing and this and that. This one felt much more action movie-like in the way that his emotions and all that shit are still there, but it's not quite as heavy. Because the one thing I would imagine about selling 1 as a screenplay, he kills the dog in the first 10 pages, like pages of this movie. What, you think you're gonna sell this? Are you crazy? Mm-hmm. I feel like this is an easier sell if that means anything.
His goals are a lot more complicated this time.
That's the other thing. Mm-hmm. So he wants once again to leave this life, and the same themes come up, but even stronger. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna come back just for this little bit to kill Yosef and this and that in the first one. All right, now I'm done. But it's just not that simple. And as I keep saying with the continuous world building, it's even more complicated. Oh, I told you I'm out. Oh, but I have this trinket here, the blood oath, whatever the hell, the pendant. Mm-hmm. This you can't say no to. Well, shit. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say no, but you're going to blow up my house. Now I really got nothing. Luckily, the doggy survives this time.
Yes, thank God.
And he's a good boy. He chills at the hotel.
Yeah.
With Lance Reddick.
This is the the Dark Knight or the Empire Strikes Back of the John Wick trilogy.
Right.
For many reasons. Not just in terms of upping the ante, not just in terms of furthering the plot, but also in terms of outcome, I'd say as well.
Well, that's the other thing. Talk about, as I was saying in our review of 1, consequences of your actions. Oh boy, is that a big thing here.
Especially at the end.
Especially right at the end. But even still, it's like the whole idea that he's back again after... Like, how much more could this guy lose? That's the one thing I'm thinking when he's, like, sitting in the wreckage of his house. God, nothing goes right for this guy. Other than he's alive.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the cinematography this time around, I think it was even better.
The colors are just way more vibrant and varied. Not to say that they weren't the other time, but there's just, oh, man, a lot of neon and...
right.
Just great. Looks great.
Specifically some neon in the end scene.
Yeah.
There's an homage to the greatest film of all time, Enter the Dragon.
Mirrors and such.
With the House of Mirrors. And I thought you guys learned your lesson. Not that the ending of 1 was horrible, but you have to make your best scene the last. To me, that's how it should be, generally speaking.
Right.
Or your most extravagant scene. That was without a doubt the visually most interesting scene.
Oh, yeah.
And then talk about the whole mixing themes with your story. The what the hell you call it? The exhibit announcer. Welcome to the mirror of the soul.
Yeah.
It's like now John Wick's gotta really dig deep and think, what the fuck am I doing here? He's having an existential crisis while he has to survive being shot at.
Yeah, he's got to question his code. He's got to question his morality, and it all ends with a really big scene where he has to essentially question everything he started this journey for.
Right.
And he fucking blows away Santino in the middle of the Continental, that's
was
the first commandment of the Continental.
From the first movie, we'd been told, there's this crazy world, this Continental Hotel, but there are rules.
You can't kill here. We've seen the consequences of this. We saw Miss Perkins, played by Adrian Palicki, get killed over killing that really nice guy. I can't think of his name. Harry, that's his name.
And trying to kill John Wick.
Because
that was the thing. It was they made the call to her. Oh, I'll double it if you break the Continental rules. She figures, fuck it. Fails, and of course she pays the price. So that same thing occurs here, but in a much worse way because it's in front of everyone.
Yeah.
And even with John Wick's reputation, the best, what's his name, Ian McShane?
Yeah, Ian McShane, Winston.
The best Winston can do is give him an hour.
Before he's excommunicado.
That's right, excommunicado. And let's not forget one of the MVPs of this movie. Mr. Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh, he's great, man. He's the Bowery King? Is his name?
Well, so you get the idea that he's sort of an outsider of this assassin guild, whatever the hell you want to call it. But he kind of has his break-off faction.
Yeah, he's like the king of all the homeless or whatever.
Right.
Kind of reminds me of like remember the orphans from the Warriors?
Yeah.
The like orphans gang where they're just like homeless people or whatever.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that.
Well, that's the other thing, again, with the world expanding, element. So there's this idea that, well, within this world of assassins, there's also these little breakaway worlds and, separate groups within these, it's secret groups within secret groups,
These sects.
Right. So I enjoyed that aspect, and I really liked his performance. Every line Lawrence Fishburne said was said with such conviction. I'm believing every word of this role, regardless of the fact that like he's saying some crazy shit, but I'm believing it.
Oh yeah,
all the way. Let's see what else we got. Subtext is there. you get the idea that there's some stuff that we're just not going to know everything about. Oh, the Kimura and the this and the that. And, you know, there's some other stuff about the blood oaths. There's even the idea, Santino, you know, the whole thing of it's a callback to one where he's talking about
the impossible task.
Yeah, the impossible task where it's like
he helped him out.
Vigo says the thing about the bodies he buried built the foundation for what we do. So now we're learning Santino has a history with this John Wick fella.
Yeah, John Wick kind of owes him. Santino thinks.
And yeah, he thinks, but he also kind of has some leverage with the pendant, with the blood oath. But of course, he doesn't really owe him anymore since Santino is now dead.
And now it's gotten John in a whole new world of pain and revenge, or not revenge, of hardship.
Yeah. And that's kind of the thing. I guess the answer to the question for 1 and 2, can you escape this past of, or rather, can John Wick escape this past of his? And it doesn't really seem like he can.
Hence my Dark Knight and Empire Strikes Back comparisons.
Right, and that's the other thing is the cliffhanger's a great ending.
Oh, it's great. All the cell phones are going off. You're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, the whole world
knows. The angel of death is,
knocking at John Wick's door, the door of his blown up house.
That's right. That's the other thing. There's a lot of religious imagery in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, there's just, a lot of statues and shit. And there's a lot of shots that were framed specifically for him to be standing below, statues and stuff. I just thought that was kind of interesting because that goes back to the redemption thing. And he's got the tat,
Oh, yeah.
What the hell does it say?
Something in Latin, I thought, right?
Yeah, it's something in Latin, and it's got the cross with the hands together to pray.
Yeah. And obviously, the movie takes place in Rome. A lot of the stuff with, I can't think of her name, the sister.
Doesn't the one guy, the dude at the Continental, yes, I gotta know, you're not here for the Pope, are you?
Yeah. There's a lot of tie-ins to that sort of like the idea of guilt is a very Catholic thing.
Right.
So, and John Wick's got a lot of demons to deal with and a lot of guilt to reconcile with. And that's what this movie... Unfortunately, the movie doesn't end well in John Wick's favor. He kind of just leaves with even more baggage now.
Yeah, that's the weird thing is, you had I would say, a more fun movie in terms of tone in this first one. Because the themes were there, but they're a little heavier in one.
Yeah.
But then they bring them crashing all right back at the end, which I thought was kind of interesting. Also, Ruby Rose is pretty solid as the mute
Ares.
Yeah, is that what she's called?
Yeah, I liked her.
Yeah, I like that character. It's kind of funny.
This is an
I love when he's sign languaging. She says, "I'll see you soon." He says, "Not if I see you first."
Yeah. God, it's good.
Yeah.
I would say this overall is an improvement over John Wick 1. Though I know I won't be giving it as high a score as you, because I'm
factually incorrect.
Yes, I do. I love the movie, and I still stand by my score of 8.5 out of 10.
That's crazy talk, because to me this was possibly the best movie of that year. What was it, 2017?
Yeah.
What else it doesn't fucking matter. This was up there.
I'm just giving room for John Wick 3. That's all. I wanted to pull a Jason Bourne, in my opinion, where each movie gets better.
All right. I mean, it could. But point is, this was a solid movie, and I love the cliffhanger ending. I thought the action was definitely an improvement.
Oh, yeah.
Even though the first one is jaw-dropping enough, this one somehow found a way to outdo its predecessor. Then on top of that, the ending, as I said, the final act was really something special, especially with the whole Hall of the Mirrors, whatever the hell, Reflection of the Soul exhibit. Yeah. Loved it. And now part of that bias is because it reminds me of the greatest film of all time.
Right.
I said, Enter the Dragon. So to me, this is a perfect score if I've ever seen one. With like tiny nitpicks, fuck it. I'll let them go. The tiny nitpicks.
Right.
So that's perfect score for me.
Alrighty.
All right, so that'll do it for our review or rather a rewatching, or
From the Vault Review.
Yeah. The thing where we watch a movie we've already seen again to see if we still think we like it or if it sucks or not. We thought it was good. The end. So that'll do it for our review of The Bored Doggy at the Hotel. No, seriously, he just left him there. Okay, he didn't like leave him there, like he's there with him at the end, but you know, he left him at the hotel for a majority of the film. The movie.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to episode 48 of Bonus Features with Alex and Robert. I'm Robert.
And I'm Alex.
As always, you can check us out on all of our social media pages, including Facebook and YouTube, at the self-titled pages of Bonus Features with Alex and Robert.
And make sure when you go on YouTube to hit the bell, because you don't want just some notifications, you want all of them.
Right.
Gotta catch them all, or have them all. All right, I tried to tie in Pokemon, didn't really work. But the point is, click the bell so you get everything. So as always, till next time.